I shall now focus on other areas of interest. Economic performance. On our part, we hereby indicate in this regard our intention to present our second voluntary national review in July 2023 to highlight Zambia's progress towards sustainable development goals, achievement of. Despite the challenges in the external environment, we are resolved to rebuild the Zambian economy, and this resolve remains strong ever before. Our economic recovery is on track, Mr. President, evidenced by the positive growth indicators and stabilization of key macro variables such as what? Interest rate regime, indeed, exchange rate market stability, inflation, which we have been able to pull down from 25% to well under 9.8% in just 1 year of being in office. Mr. President, Zambia is on a path of growth from the economic contraction that we experienced in the past, which was somewhere in the region of -2%, and to GDP estimated now just under a year to grow at about 3%. When you add -2 and 3% growth, it means we've grown by about 5% in the last 12 months. This is something that has been difficult to achieve, but with a lot of hard work, we've been able to do it. But we want to do more. Effectively, in terms of social economic benefits, our commitment to providing equal opportunities, especially for the young people, has been demonstrated by the introduction of free primary and secondary education, as we believe that education is the best equalizer. Education is the best investment. Education is the best inheritance without doubt. Consistent with our pledge to invest in human capital, we have recruited over 30,000 teachers, 11,000 health workers in 2022 alone. We are decentralizing, Mr. President, our service delivery and have increased the allocation of Constituency Development Fund by over 1,000 percentage points in our first budget in office, just the beginning. Expenditure of these funds at community level is meant to ensure inclusive and sustainable economic growth that will support SME development and employment creation across all our 10 provinces, 156 constituencies in our country. I'm pleased to note that we have reached, in principle, agreement with our creditors under the common framework to restructure the national debt which we inherited, and have effectively concluded an IMF deal based on our more important homegrown economic transformation plan. We say many thanks to the International Monetary Fund, to the World Bank, and basically the UN system and other cooperating partners for your support. UN reforms. Mr. President, we wish to stress that global ambitions toward peace and security largely depend on the effectiveness of the United Nations Security Council. The inadequacies of the current structure of the Security Council, however, have become increasingly pronounced with ceding of decision-making on matters of global peace and security to the General Assembly that otherwise would have been its preserve. That's a preserve of the Security Council. But this burden is now pushed to the General Assembly. I think this is not correct. This brings to the fore the need for the long overdue reforms of the UN Security Council. We appreciate the call from President Biden for greater inclusivity in the Security Council. We therefore continue to advance the African common position as espoused in the Ezelwyn Consensus and the CITES Declaration to ensure the effectiveness, credibility, and legitimacy of our UN Security Council. In conclusion, Mr. President, we wish to reaffirm Zambia's commitment to the fundamental principles which the United Nations was founded upon, which safeguard our shared future, indeed, of peace, prosperity for all nations, not for some nations, I shall emphasize, but peace and stability and prosperity for all nations. Mr. President, I thank you for your kind attention.
On behalf of the Assembly, I wish to thank the President of the Republic of Zambia for the statement just made.